Hi, my name is Dr. Jim Cluff. This PowerPoint is going to describe our findings to date with wrestling athletes and track and field athletes regarding some of the testing results we've done to try to give you an indication of what sort of benefits the insole may have for athletes. Also, we're going to present to you a little bit about how the Cluffy insole works. This works much differently than any other insole on the market, and we want to make sure you understand exactly how this insole is designed and what it's designed to accomplish. Hope you enjoy the presentation. The Cluffy Ultimate Sole is the new name for the Cluffy Sport insole. There's three main features that you need to be aware of. The first is a lift underneath your big toe, which overcomes any restriction of movement of the big toe going upward. We don't want that joint to be restricted because that's very important to transform your foot from a shock absorber to a stable foot as you move forward through the windlass mechanism. This is a critical part of the insole. You can also see that it has a very unique arch design here. This design allows the metatarsal bones to come down in back of your big toe, the first metatarsal, and create a point of stability here. Also, another point of stability is created here as you allow the fourth and fifth metatarsals to come down. And then you have a point of stability here in the heel. This is creating a tripod of stability, which is going to give you better balance, and it's also going to give you better strength. This varies quite a bit from the normal arch design, which comes straight across your foot in other branded orthotics. It has a gel pad on your heel. This gel pad slightly lifts your heel to give you better power. It also cushions the heel from impact forces to minimize your risk of injury. These wings on the side of the insole fold up as you put this in your shoe, and they create a cradling effect of the foot structure of both the inside and outside arches of your foot to stabilize the foot in a more optimal position. The primary premise of the Cluffy insole is to allow the plantar fascia, which is the ligament on the bottom of your foot, here going from the heel to the base of your big toe, to act to stabilize your foot and move it from a flatter foot right here. This foot is flatter when you first come down on the floor. It's a more adaptable structure. It's a very good shock absorber. It's what we call a pronated foot, into a more rigid, stable foot, if you will, a more supinated foot as you move forward. You need the rigidity and stability of your foot as you're moving forward to propel your body forward effectively for the next step. So we're doing this, and this will restore both the arches on the lateral, on the outside of your foot, as well as on the medial and the inside of your foot here, as well as the arch on the ball of your foot here. So we're allowing the windlass mechanism to do this and to take your foot from a very pronated position, as illustrated here, to a more normal neutral position there. And we do want the foot to function in both places. We want it to pronate a little bit for shock absorption, and then we want it to resupinate for effective propulsion as you're moving forward. We can do this through movement of the big toe upward like this, which is very important to restore that natural mechanism to the foot structure. I'm now going to show you how the windlass mechanism works. And what we can see here is as you load the foot becomes very flat, a good adapter to the terrain, very mobile. You can see the foot is moving through the midfoot quite a bit there. And as we bring the big toe upward now, you can see how the metatarsal is coming downward to reform the arch on the inside of the foot and create a very, very stable platform for that foot to move forward efficiently. Normal walking basically involves three different stages. It was described by Jacqueline Perry in her book called Gait Analysis. She described the rocker. So the heel is the first rocker. It's a very curved structure and allows the body to move forward by rolling through the heel And then as the foot hits the ground, now the ankle is moving and it's allowing the body to transition forward on the ankle. And then as you move into the third phase of gait, you're rolling off the big toe, and this is allowing the foot to roll through the body to roll through the foot efficiently. This is engaging the windlass mechanism and stabilizing the foot so that you're able to propel forward efficiently. Notice in back of this we have the abnormal walking style, which is very common in people that have foot pain and athletes that have performance issues. You can see here that the head is down, the arms are out of balance here. She's out of balance, and they're off to the side trying to stabilize her correctly. You can see that right here in propulsion, she's not getting the normal extension of the toes to allow the foot to become stable as she moves forward. So essentially what we're doing with the walking is we're going from a pronated foot, this is the right foot, illustrating how the heel is going to roll outward and evert, and the ankle is going to go inward. This is going to create some instability of the foot in this position. But as the big toe extends and we're able to get that extension, we're able to bring that foot into a more neutral alignment, which is going to tend to minimize the prominence of the medial malleolus here and make the foot again into a much more stable structure as you move forward. In this slide, I'm going to show you how the big toe is often stuck with normal foot function and does not allow the foot to become stable. What I'm doing here is I'm pressing up underneath the ball of the foot on the first metatarsal head with my right hand, and I'm trying to move the big toe upward with my left hand. You can see that there's very limited motion of the big toe going upward here, and that's not going to allow my foot to achieve stability as I'm moving forward. When you're moving through a foot like this, you can see that there just is not the movement of the big toe necessary in order to stabilize that foot properly. Now we're overcoming the limited motion of the big toe joint. What we're doing is we're just extending the toe before we load the metatarsal, and now you can see that the big toe goes into full extension. As it does that, the first metatarsal plantar flexes, we restore the transverse arch to the foot structure as well. By activating the windlass mechanism, you can see this is going to have a beneficial effects for pain reduction of a number of areas. The first being just around the medial malleolus for posterior tibial tendon issues, in pain, plantar fasciitis or heel pain, very much related to inactivation of the windlass mechanism, as well as medial arch pain and lateral arch discomfort and subluxation, cuboid subluxation, metatarsalgia pain on the ball of the foot, pain in the first metatarsal phalangeal joint from jamming when it's not able to move correctly. And we're going to be overloading our lesser metatarsals here and here, potentially exacerbating a neuroma and creating metatarsal pain there. Also has superstructural effects. You can see that the retrocalcaneal area very commonly affected if the ankle is not moving correctly, which it will not move correctly if the big toe is not moving. Shin splints, a big one, related to lack of ankle joint motion, some postural related knee pain, posture related hip pain, and posturally related low back pain will also respond once you get the big toe moving correctly and the windlass mechanism activated. We're now going to show you some balance, strength, and agility testing we did at Alvernia University with the wrestling team in 2025. The first test is called a front pull test, and we're simply asking the athlete to keep their arms straight and clasp their hands together in front of them. I'm taking my hand and I'm pushing directly down on the hands that I'm telling the athlete not to let me pull them forward. Now on the left, they do not have the Cluffy insole in their shoes, and on the right, they do have the Cluffy insole in their shoes. You can see I'm able to pull them right over without the insole about 98% of the time. With the insole, we're not able to pull anybody over. And this works all the time. You can see the incredible benefits as far as front balance is concerned. We're now doing a back pull test demonstrating the balance without the Cluffy insoles on the left and with the Cluffy insoles on the right. You can see that with the addition of the Cluffy insoles that the athletes are in much better balance, easily being displaced there without the insoles. On these following tests, we're using a handheld dynamometer to measure the amount of force required to displace the athlete with and without the Cluffies. This is a single limb balance test, and we're simply pushing down on the hands like we did before with them standing on one limb, measuring the amount of force required to elevate the heel right there, which we call off balance at that point. It was 54 pounds without the Cluffy, and it was 65 pounds with the Cluffy insoles in place. We're now measuring side to side balance. You can see on the right side, we went from 30 pounds without the Cluffies to 43 to displace, and on the left side from 29 to 42 pounds to displace, showing significant improvements in side to side balance. In this test, we're showing the amount of force needed to push the athlete forward, particularly relevant in the hand fighting position for wrestlers, but also having application in many other sports. We saw an over 80% improvement in the amount of force required to push the athlete forward off balance with the use of the Cluffy Ultimate soles. We're now testing some more functional athletic positions. In this position, we're putting them in a staggered stance, trying to push them off balance forward and to the right. You can see the huge difference in the amount of force required to do that from 24 pounds without the Cluffies to 42 pounds with the Cluffies. We're now testing another staggered stance position, trying to push them backwards to the right, going from 24 to 42 pounds to displace. We're now doing a front and back step ladder drill over a line. You can see that without the Cluffies, they averaged 19 steps in 10 seconds. Adding the Cluffy insoles, they went to 22 steps in 10 seconds. None of the athletes did any worse with this test with the Cluffies. We're now putting the athlete into a lunge or shot position, pushing on the outside of the knee, trying to displace them inward. You can see that we went from 28 to 39 pounds adding the insoles. We're now pushing on the inside of the knee, trying to displace the knee outward. You can see that there's a huge difference in the amount of force required to do this with the addition of the insoles. The implications for knee injuries might be fairly significant here with the increased stability we're seeing with this test. We're now doing a lateral hop test with and without the Cluffy insoles. We're asking them to hop back and forth over a line and take as many steps as they can in 10-second interval. You see this went from 12 on average to 15 on average when adding the insole into their shoe, improving their agility and their foot speed. We are now demonstrating hip flexor strength. We're putting a band around the thigh with a dynamometer to measure the amount of force required to pull the leg downward. You notice that we're testing the opposite leg. So he's standing on the left leg, we're testing the right. He's still experiencing significant improvements in strength by about 33% by adding the Cluffy insole. We're now doing a single limb hop test with and without the insoles, without on the left and with the insoles on the right. You can see on the first step here how without the insoles his right knee is really going into a valgus position, and you see how his arms are way out to the side, he's off balance. With the insoles you see how he's in perfect alignment. His foot is in much better position with the insoles. And we're going to go ahead and move forward now. You see the second step, without the insoles, he's way off the line. His arms are out to this side. He's trying to regain balance. With the insoles, pretty much going straight ahead, right on the line. Good posture, good balance. Third step, look how much further he went during the third step. Imagine the implications this may have for some jumping events. And just postural stability in general could be huge. We're now measuring shoulder strength by putting the arm in front, pulling down with a strap with a dynamometer to measure the amount of force required to pull the arm downward with and without the Cluffies. You can see that there's about a 23% improvement in the amount of force required to displace the arm downward. We're now measuring shoulder strength again, this time with a lateral arm pull test. You can see again about a 23% improvement in the amount of force required to displace the arm downward with the application of the insoles in the shoe.
My foot and ankle felt a lot more stable. My feet felt more grounded. It was kind of crazy, the difference, because it felt like my feet, when I wanted them to be stuck to the ground, they were. But then when we did agility testing and speed testing, I was faster, I was more balanced, I felt more athletic. It was really cool. I loved them.
I think they were really good. I feel like there was a big difference. I feel like they really helped me with my issues in my foot. I just feel like I was more explosive, more balanced.
Hopping with them in and hopping with them out, I can definitely feel a difference. The fatter bottom for the heel, that made a difference for being able to go more straight, definitely cushion more landing.
I have really flat feet. The fact that these have a lot more arch support, I think is really going to help me on the mat.
The insoles were really comfortable, and they felt better than the actual insoles that are in the shoe. They had more grip. How they're designed, it doesn't let my ankle roll, keeps it steady.
I feel like my heel doesn't really come up. Like my ankle is bending and my foot is still grounded.
We did a standardized Y balance test on 8 cheerleading athletes with a gain per athlete of 15.3 centimeters overall 6 test on average. 7 of the 8 athletes improved with the Y balance test. This would imply that these athletes are at a reduced risk for injury. This is the data we have so far relevant to throwing athletes. We looked at a shot put athlete at the University of Providence in 2025. He threw 45.35 feet without the Cluffy insoles on an average of 5 throws and went to 46.18 feet with the Cluffy insoles over 5 throws for a 10-inch gain per throw noted. We also looked at Travis from University of Providence. He threw an average of 49.46 feet without the Cluffies and 49.71 feet with the Cluffy insoles, with a very low gain noted there, about 1.25 inches or so over the 5 throws. However, the longest throw without the Cluffy insoles was 50 feet 4 inches. This was 23 inches shorter than the longest throw with the insoles, which was 52 feet 11 inches. We looked at a hammer throw athlete, Adam, without the insoles, threw 139.6 feet, average of 5 throws, and with the insoles, 144.9 feet, for a gain of 5.316 feet further per throw. We also looked at a discus thrower, Lauren, threw 126.8 feet without, going to 131.1 feet with the insoles, improving by 51.4 inches per throw, 4.6 feet, with the addition of the Cluffy Ultimate soles.
Hi, I'm Alan Kress. I'm the throws coach here at the University of Providence, and I'm also a master's throwing athlete. Seven-time national champion in the throws pentathlon and currently ranked number 3 in the world at that. Today I want to talk about something that's helped me a lot with my training and throwing, and that's the Cluffy insoles, sport insoles for my shoes. As you can see, I wear these in my throwing shoes. It's really simple to put in, just squeeze them together, make sure that heel gets down there. But what it's done for me is gives me better stability and support for training and throwing. I wear them in my training shoes, my javelin shoes, everything. And I've had less arch problems, knee problems, and I've had better throws. I feel more connected and stable when I'm throwing. So I just endorse these, and if you're interested, just go to cluffy.com and look at the sport insoles. Thanks.
I would 100% recommend the insole pretty much across the board for anyone who's involved in any type of athletics. My opinion, and not only just my opinion, but the real world application that I've seen is this tremendously improves your stability, tremendously improves your positioning, your posture. It universally has improved my athletic performance in all of my Olympic weightlifting. And you just feel better as far as your feet, your knees, your legs, your hips. It's amazing how the insole, unlike any other insole that I've tried, and I've tried many, has actually made a bigger difference in my overall biomechanics than anything across the board that I've ever done.
The conclusion that I've reached after showing these test results is that the data currently suggests a likelihood that performance will be improved, injury risk will be reduced, and many common foot pains associated with training will be reduced or eliminated. We are looking to generate more data over time, but the early results are certainly very encouraging. Thank you for your time.